Hello, welcome to a video review. I'm going to be reviewing Bioshock Infinite. I got the game. I got it under a lot of recommendations from friends and websites as well. I just kept hearing a lot of good things about it, which is usually I don't really like basing a purchase off of what I hear. I'm much rather base off on how I feel about the game. But that's to say, like I didn't really have much feelings for this game to begin with. It was just its strong sense of indifference. Like it was just like, well, it's cool, but I don't know if I want to invest in it at all since I didn't like Bioshock 2 and I never really figured Bioshock to get multiple games. I just thought it just needed one game and that was more than enough. But anyways, I decided to get this one and see how it was, and it was actually pretty good. I liked it. I really do think it was a lot of fun. So I'm gonna go in with my review. The gameplay I feel is much more uh like more interesting and more unique to the Bioshock franchise as much as it can get. I mean, it still has that traditional Bioshock kind of formula where you have your plasmids, which are now your vigors, and you still have this weapons. But I also feel that they gave you more weapons in this game than in the first one. Where in the first one you always have this, you find weapons, but you're always stuck with the one that you kind of are comfortable with, and you never really have the sense of, okay, I need to get a new weapon. This one, you'll be at least trying every single gun at least once in this game. So that's a big plus. That there is a somewhat of a weapon focus. But other than that, it's just typical Bioshock fare. Uh, and here's the and really much what this goes down to as well, which was kind of a disappointment for me. I kind of liked Rapture a lot more than Columbia, and and a lot of people are saying like, well, this and that about it. I really liked Columbia. Don't get me wrong. Columbia was a really nice environment. It really got you involved with the scenery and all that. It really got you involved in all that. But what I liked more about Rapture, and this is really what I liked about Bioshock, was it had this really creepy atmosphere that you kind of felt unsettled and just like something weird is happening here, and you kind of want to know more of what happened. While in Colombia, you're pretty much at the high point of the society in the sky, and it's not that creepy, and you're just going through a populated city, and you're more getting the atmosphere of the times more there than in Bioshock 1, where it was just you're in this 60s utopia underwater city that just went wrong and everyone is just bugged out splicers who just took too much plasmids. And I kind of like that answer more since it kind of showed the danger of addiction subtly because splicers were pretty much created through plasmids. In this game, we don't really get that sense of creepy, weird kind of city. It's just there's something fishy going on in the city, but you know what? I'm just here on a rescue mission. Uh, so yeah, that's the gameplay. Overall, other than that, the game itself, I really think is a big Is not a big departure. It's actually really close to the first one in some sense, in the sense of you're seeing a lot of weird messed up shit going on. Like you see that there's a city with all these people who are just racist, and they fled to the sky to leave the Union for their own utopian and mindset, following this guy named Comstock. And it promotes this weird religious kind of cult almost, and I like that. There's something there to it, but it never really. I feel like it never went too far with it. It just went to the traditional, see, aren't cults weird and bad kind of a feel, but overall it's a lot of fun and you get a nice development with the characters. And that's another thing I want to talk about. Unlike Bioshock 1, your character will talk a lot in this game. Not annoying at all. You will just look at something and have an opinion and just say like, oh, this? Ugh. Whatever. And I really like that because that's the one thing I didn't like about Bioshock 1 was I followed the story, but I just wish the main character said something. And I feel that And it was kind of obvious why in Bioshock 1 the character didn't talk, because it was more of you're that character and you're, and it was more of a distant experience where you're just, where they immersed you into that character. Here, it's just, you're not supposed to be this character. This character is already developed and well established. But but slowly start seeing this weird kind of history with this character, and you start questioning who he really is and why was he chosen? What all this weird stuff that slowly starts rearing its head as the story unfolds. And as far as the story is concerned, the middle section is the most boring part of the game. It is the worst section. Like, well, not bad as in like, oh, I can't play the game anymore, but it was just the beginning. It gets you really involved in the story. You're like, oh, I wonder what happens next. What happens next? Once you get near the middle of it, you tend to slowly, stop caring almost, to the point where I felt like I almost wanted to stop playing because I didn't like what I was doing. Because it felt almost like a traditional shooter at that point, like a traditional shooter story where this group of people want to overthrow this guy, and that just kind of felt done before, that particular style of story. But once you get past that, the story picks up again, and it starts getting really more interesting and really touching. And that's another thing that this game does brilliantly. The secondary character that follows you this is pretty much an escort mission type game, but you never have to worry about Elizabeth, who is the secondary character. You never have to worry about her dying. You never have to worry about her anything. If anything, she gets stand on her own and help you, in the sense that she's escorting you through the game, which is kind of a cool role reversal almost. But it's nice to have that switch, because she added a whole new layer of gameplay mechanics and a whole new idea of what to do and how these two characters relate and how the whole story ties itself together. And you do get a sense of emotion towards her, and you start feeling things for her, and you slowly start to care about her and Booker. You don't, like, in Bioshock 1, I guess you could have that same feeling about the little sisters, but you never really, I never felt one way or another about the little sisters. I just harvested all of them, because I didn't really care about saving them. So I got the bad ending, obviously. And I like that. I really like that in this game, it's more of, they develop this relationship so subtly and slowly. Like, it's like Wind Waker, in my opinion. Wind Waker had this kind of development between Link and Zelda, where it wasn't in your face, blatant, saying, oh, there's something going on here. Instead, it's, oh, well, there's something going on, but you know what, I just want to get out of here. And then, as you're just trying to get her to point B, it's like, I kind of feel sorry for her. She's been locked up in a tower all this time. She wants this, and all that. And that was so touching to see that kind of interaction between those two characters. And then the other character, Songbird, which is this game's representation of Big Daddy, the predecessor of it, isn't exactly like Big Daddy. The design is Big Daddy-esque and kind of his role in the game. But I wish that they took the idea further, in the sense of, in Bioshock 1, you were going through Rapture and you're trying to get these little sisters away from them, and then you had to fight the Big Daddy because the Big Daddy wants to protect them. And I liked that aspect in Bioshock 1. It opened a new door of, well, do I want to harvest or save the little sister, or just continue on my very way and just ignore the whole thing altogether, or should I, whatever. And I love this idea of, like, well, I could either attack Big Daddy or not. Here, the Songbird isn't really an enemy for you to fight. It's more of just a set piece to progress the story. And I didn't really like that. I wish that Songbird was more of an enemy for you to fight instead of this set piece to get the story going. And there's a part in the game where Songbird is used in gameplay, but it's not in the way I wanted to, but it was cool nonetheless. But even then, like, the Songbird has a really nice, relationship between her and Elizabeth, and it was happening in the background. You never really got their relationship. You just knew that he was pretty much the warden and she was a prisoner, and that's all I knew of that. And then once in a while that you would get development between that relationship, and you start saying like, oh well, the songbird was like this and that. It was actually really nice to see that. Uh, but yeah, the story I think I'm gonna address that in another video because the ending I don't want to talk a little bit more about the ending in another video at another time. But right now, the game itself is worth it. If you like Bioshock 1, you're gonna like this game. Personally, I like Bioshock 1 a little bit more. The story in this one is better, though. I will say, the story in Infinite is better than Bioshock 1. But the atmosphere is different. The atmosphere in Infinite is just kind of happy and bright, and the style is a lot different than Bioshock 1. This one is more of a stylized, kind of cel-shaded look that a lot of people might be turned off with, but I think it works for this game, and I can't see this game in any other style because it helps to promote these characters and the story, and it propels you into actually caring about what's going on. If it was in another style, if it was like more realistic, I would probably not care as much, I guess. But yeah, the atmosphere is different in this one, and you get more of the set of how these people interact with the universe of Columbia, and you just get this little, atmosphere of the time, to the point where you almost feel like you're on Boardwalk Empire. While Bioshock 1 was just this creepy atmosphere that I really liked, and the ending had a good twist. I will say, it was actually one of the best twists I've experienced, but that's another time. I give this game a 9 out of 10.